Greetings, programs. This is Wretch. Welcome back to Citizen Sleeper. And in the last episode, guys, it was a bit of an ordeal, but we were able to finish all of our tasks, both for Eshe and PK. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a tense meeting where we let Eshe and PK know about Helene and her attempts to want to help the flotilla, but at the same time not go forth with the plan. Eshe obviously did not take that well. PK asked what we should do, and we said we should go ahead and go with this because people are suffering right now. People are starving, and they don't have the luxury of time. So we're just going to deal with the consequences of that. It looks like the Briar is going to be taking off in the next cycle. We have Bliss still waiting for us up above. So let us go ahead and cross the rim. We spent most of our dice today getting some money, getting some food. We have another stabilizer, which is awesome, and all of this scrap to repair ourselves. We are pretty, like, self-sufficiency is definitely a thing here. We have a good system. Here we go. Feed the kitty. She's gone, Sleeper. PK is breathless and shaking. She started the run without us. Shit. Let's go. If we head to the Cordon now. PK starts back up the corridor. They turn back. She has to make it, Sleeper. She has to. A shiver runs down your spine. Eshe, I hope you know what you're doing. I mean, we did prepare her as well as we could. The only thing she doesn't have now is excuses. Ooh, Haven Age quarantine. Alright. You arrive, frantic and anxious, at the Cordon. PK is nowhere to be seen. Then you hear footsteps, hammering on the metal stairway Helene's drone led you through before, the one that leads up to the observation deck. You leap up the stairs 2 at a time and make it to the top, momentarily blinded by the light pouring into the observation deck. I'm going to try really hard not to have that song stuck in my head now. Sleeper. PK emerges from the light. I know she's trying to protect me, but it's okay. She chose. But what about my choice, Sleeper? I'm not a child anymore. I can fight for myself. They turn away. There she is. PK rushes to the wide window, leaning forward to catch a glimpse of the climbing Briar's blue XPR livery against the black of the void. You spot the climbing Briar, a glint of blue and white, and beside it the red glare of the tug's lights. The tug crew went with her. PK smiles. I knew they'd keep their word. That'll help. PK doesn't seem to hear you, but the idea of the crew backing Eshe up makes you smile. Maybe this thing will work. You watch as the Briar and its tug escort arc down toward the edge of the Cordon, demarcated by the red lights of the perimeter system. So far, so good. The Briar will just look like another refugee ship being escorted into the Cordon. At least, at a glance. So I'm actually glad we went ahead and did all of this, because Eshe was just going to do it anyway. Like, this problem was going to happen whether Helene was involved in this or not. PK grips the rail as Eshe reaches the edge of the Cordon, that invisible net of sensors splayed between ships and drones. Now let's hope the blind spot triggered. You think back to the mess of systems you had to wade through to set it up, the delicate contingencies you set up to trigger the sensor blackout at just the right moment. Without noise, without ceremony, the Briar slides through the Cordon. You await the flickering of alarm lights, the swarming of drones, but nothing. Just another cycle, just another ship. Eshe's in. Both you and PK let out a breath you've been holding and laugh.
How did she do it?
PK smiles, shaking their head. We did it. PK smiles wider.
Yes, we did.
They laugh. You feel a little shaky from the tension, but PK's ease helps you settle. You imagine Eshe, steely-eyed, in the pilot's seat of the Briar, searching for a place to dock. Maybe being stubborn has its advantages.
You okay?
Me?
I think that took years off my life, but I've got to hand it to Eshe. She was right.
You and PK turn back to the window, looking for the Briar again amongst all those hulls. The calm fading as new worries settle in. You spot the Briar first this time, docking with the largest of the flotilla's ships, a vast converted tanker, half of its protective plates removed. You think about the effort it must have taken to get that thing all the way here from the inner system. You watch the Briar, unable to get any sense of progress from its placid exterior.
They'll be offloading everything now,
PK says, both assuring you and themselves that everything is going to plan. You think of all the supplies loaded into the Briar, and how long the process of unloading them might take. The bay was packed, rammed with everything you could offer, and the thought of bringing all that to the flotilla makes you smile. See, and Helene wouldn't even allow that to happen. You think of the reaction of the refugees, of the welcome they'll give Eshe as the bearer of such gifts. You even imagine a smile from Eshe as she's showered with thanks. You focus on that as you watch the Briar, and continue the nervous wait for it to finish unloading.
It's breaking off!
PK points at the Briar, and you see the puff of air and dust that accompanies an emergency depressurization. Eshe must have had to end things early. But why? Then you see them. The tugs closing in on the Briar. Haven Age must have spotted the ship. You and PK are up against the window again, willing the Briar a safe path out of the flotilla. Suddenly, the Briar shifts in space, a blue blur between two hulls. PK whistles.
Look at that!
They smile at you. Looks like those upgrades we put together work. You watch as Eshe cuts through the crowded flotilla, the tugs not daring to follow her dangerous path, and peeling away. It's hard to keep track of the Briar, and suddenly both you and PK are searching the black for a sign. Where's she gone? Then all of a sudden she's out, blue against the black, pulling away from the Cordon on a wide arc back toward the station. A clean run. PK cheers and smiles at you.
We did it! She's out!
They beam uncontrollably at you, the tension released. You find yourself smiling too, smiling at these two beautiful idiots and their beautiful ship. Then PK is hugging you, squeezing you with all the nervous energy that had been building.
Thank you, Sleeper. We did this together.
They step back, still smiling.
We did something.
Come on. They rush out of the observation deck.
Let's meet her.
Hey, another upgrade point. So I guess everything, I wonder what would happen if like something dropped, or if we needed to complete all of it. You and PK rush into the Briar, finding yourselves in the now empty bay. The change is a reminder of what you achieved, and looking around, you feel all the more satisfied. A hiss sounds at the far end of the bay, and Eshe enters, looking exhausted. PK runs up to embrace her, but she sits down on the bay floor before they reach her.
You did it.
They sit beside her.
Eshe, you were incredible.
She smiles a small smile at this, laying her head on PK's shoulder. You suddenly feel like you're intruding, seeing the two of them like this, quiet and content.
Sleeper,
PK calls.
Come on over.
You cross the bay and sit beside them on the hard metal floor.
Eshe, PK asks, did you give the flotilla our chairs?
They both burst out laughing at the ridiculousness of it all, at the exhaustion and the worry and everything else. You laugh too. It's impossible not to. And after a while, you all come to a stop. PK wiping their eyes and Eshe shaking her head.
You would have loved to have seen it, Sleeper, Eshe says quietly. The welcome I got. They came to greet the ship once I docked, to offload the supplies. I told them I was coming off course as soon as I got inside the Cordon, but there were so many. Children, families. They were smiling at me, shaking my hand. Sol was there too, PK, and he's just as gruff as he sounds over comms.
She smiles.
They took it all, crate after crate, until the ship was emptied out.
Eshe looks away.
But there were so many, and even with everything we managed to bring, they needed more. They made me promise I would try to come back. Eshe, PK shakes their head. You know we can't do that twice.
Eshe stands up.
Well, what are we supposed to do? Wait for them to lift the quarantine?
She's angry again, that familiar tension rising in her voice. PK tries to pull her back down.
Sit, Eshe. Rest. You've done enough for today. Don't, PK. I know my limits.
Eshe hardens.
Okay, well, seeing as they didn't catch you, perhaps they'll lift it. They know the flotilla poses no danger now, and if they can account for the extra load on the life support, if all the crates are empty, then Eshe handed off the weapons to them.
Eshe walks away toward the ladder that leads up to the upper part of the ship.
I need to rest, PK.
She holds up a hand.
Sleeper.
Then she limps up the ladder, step by painful step.
I'm afraid if you were expecting a change in Eshe's demeanor.
PK smiles at you. It's okay. Let her rest. PK nods.
I think I need some rest too.
They put a hand on your shoulder and get up from the floor.
We couldn't have done this without you, Sleeper. And I know those in the flotilla would thank you too.
Thank you. PK limps up the ladder too, leaving you alone on the metal floor of the bay. Your thoughts drift to all those people on the flotilla, sleeping and sitting on metal floors like this. Children, families, playing in cargo bays and repurposed fuel tanks. You know their story isn't over yet, and you look forward to meeting them. The quarantine will lift. You feel more sure of this fact every moment, even though you aren't sure why. You lie back on the metal and stare at the ceiling. What was it Fang told you, Erlin said? The eye opens for us all. Maybe the old guy was right. A home for the lost. You like the idea of that. Maybe in time you can help make that a reality. But something's bothering you. A sliver of a thought, like a splinter you can't extract. Why are thousands of refugees coming here now? People don't abandon their homes for nothing. What wave is rushing through the system? And when will it reach the eye? You shudder on the cold metal floor and get up. Something is coming. You can feel it. This isn't over. Cool. Oh, the Cordon is now available. Episode Flux complete. The episodic story of the flotilla will continue in episode Refuge, coming October 2022. Cool. Well, I don't know how long this thing's going to be with Bliss. I don't think that long, but if we need to put the series on hold until that comes out, I'm more than happy to do that. So we got some good dice. Let's head up here and maybe see if we can blitz the ambergris. Disarm. Oh yeah, this is going to be quick. Potentially. Working on amber again is a joy. You know every inch of this hull, after all. You fitted half of it. Very true. Well, that's half of it done. And this is safe as well, which I appreciate. Maybe I can get this done in one shot. Oh yeah. Good deal. And then we just show up with all the tools. All right, we're getting this done today. You move the defused torpedo warheads into the bay, trying not to think about what Ankhita used them for. Yeah, there's still that awkwardness as well, isn't there? Amber looks better than she has ever before. Bliss has done an incredible job of cleaning up the hull, and despite the exterior changes being limited, she has the impression of being lighter, somehow sleeker than before. Moritz drifts by. He's been loading up the final equipment onto Amber. It turns out Ankhita will be taking her weapons, but packed and ready to sell at the first Starward Belt port she hits. But now that Moritz is done, he seems in kind of a daze, floating back and forth aimlessly. You okay, Moritz?
What's that?
He turns.
Oh, right, yeah. Packed and stacked.
He smiles a weak smile.
Was hoping Miss Cassetta would let me keep a warhead.
For what? He shrugs.
I don't know, it just might be a cool thing to have around. Hey, Sleeper.
He looks down.
Did you know Bliss was leaving?
You understand now. She told him. That's why he's like this. I did. He nods distractedly.
She said this place is mine.
He looks up around the bay like it's suddenly some vast space he doesn't know what to do with. You'll do a great job. He looks down at you.
Hey, thanks.
He smiles.
I appreciate you saying that. Not many people believed in me before now. First Bliss and then you.
A dark look suddenly crosses his face.
Hey, Sleeper, there was something Bliss said.
He meets your eye.
Are you going too?
Before you can answer, Ankhita glides into the bay, a massive crate on her shoulder. Sleeper, you coming or what? Bliss is already on board. She stops by the terminal, holding herself in place. Moritz looks at her with a dazed expression. You look at Ankhita. She's keeping it together now. She's packed all those bad feelings down someplace where you'll never see them and built a tough foundation on top. She may not be a mercenary anymore, but you imagine most people would think twice before trying to cross her. Well? She looks at you. I'm not eager to spend another moment of my time on this station unless I have to. She pauses, looking between you and Moritz. She sighs. I'll give you a minute. And she kicks off with a crate, taking it to the end of the bay where the amber sits docked. You look back at Moritz. Now, this isn't really an issue for me. Like, we're definitely staying. That situation with Ankhita, that's going to create so much awkwardness. I think it actually would come between the Sleeper and her with the new life. And besides, we have this thing with the refugees. The eye is home. I'm staying. Moritz looks like he just might pass out.
Sleeper, are you sure? Are you doing this for me? I'm staying for me. Moritz nods. All right then. You're staying. He grins. Ankhita comes back across the bay, the final crate stowed. You staying then, sleeper? I'm staying. She nods. Well, okay then. One less mouth to feed. She pauses. Look, sleeper, I'm not going to go back over everything that happened. I'm trying to put that behind me, but I hope you find what you're looking for here. She smiles and kicks off, gliding to the ambergris and the Starward Belt beyond. You both watch in silence as Amber's drives fire up. Well, I guess this is our place now, says Moritz, the weight of everything suddenly hitting him. Your place. He smiles. Okay, but I'll need some help from time to time. You both stay for a while to watch Amber and Bliss and Ankhita leave, and then Moritz goes to the racks to finally implement a new organizational system, and you head out, promising to be back to check on things soon. As you glide around the soft curve of the hub, you catch glimpses of the distant stars flickering through the windows. They are beautiful, it's true, but by now you think of them as a distraction. In your time on the Eye, you've realized there's nothing out there waiting for you. No fresh starts, no bright futures, just a whole lot of problems you haven't found yet. No. Your place is here, among the people you know and the problems you know. You wish Ankhita and Bliss the best of luck out in the belt. But as you do, you focus on the Eye, on the vast spinning rim that rotates around its hub, on its buildings and flashing lights, on its people and places. This is your home, and for now, it contains all the futures you need. The Fixed Stars achievement unlocked. Man, we were just saying no to all chances to get out on the to leave the Eye, aren't we? Okay, well, we have already seen the credits here, but I think we're going to go ahead and let these run, because I think that we're out of content for right now, guys. We'll do a quick scan to double check, but Gareth Damian Martin, man, and I said this before, this is such a unique, amazing game. I love the characters, I love the writing. It's Cyberpunk without kind of jumping into a lot of the tropes that Cyberpunk tends to. And this has just been a wonderful treat of a game to play. And something, I think every so often, a game comes out that goes against all convention. A really good one that I can remember like this would be Spiritfarer. I kind of throw this game in that same kind of... It's familiar, yet different, and it hits something inside. It makes me feel feelings. So, yeah. Thank you to everyone who's been working on this game. And I'm looking forward to checking out the Refugee DLC. But we'll see if there's anything else to do here. And we'll just kind of roll with the punches. I just feel that story, I want to find out what's coming. If all of these refugees are coming to the Eye, what happened in all those other systems? Did all the were there aliens? Was there some sort, you know what I mean? It's like you can just leave that completely out. Oh. Next round is yours. Moritz arrives at the table with a couple of steel drink canisters, typical of the hub's only bar, the Gimbal Lounge. He settles into the webbing beside the table and clunks them down onto the magnetic table. This place, you've decided, is ridiculous. A rapidly spinning, cavernous sphere, the gimbal's weak gravity, just like the gravity at the Eye's rim, is created by its gut-wrenching rotation,
The interior surface of the sphere is the gimbal's floor, which descends toward the equator, where one long bar loops around the entire circumference. Tumbling out of that central ring are an array of booths and seating arrangements, equipped with all kinds of harnesses and webbing to keep customers in place. Those harnesses are there because the gimbal doesn't quite spin up fast enough, and you watch as the clientele bounce toward the bar in lazy arcs or shift from table to table with graceful leaps.
What are you thinking?
Asks Moritz, noticing you staring out into the gimbal. How weird this place is. Moritz glances around, as if for the first time.
Yeah, Bliss never used to like coming here.
Moritz takes a drink and stretches.
So, Sleeper, you sticking around?
If you'll have me. Moritz nods.
Of course I'm gonna need help in the bay.
Moritz rubs the back of his head.
One cycle at a time. That's how we'll take it. Nice and easy.
You aren't sure if he's talking to himself or you. We'll make it. He lifts his drink for a toast.
To the next cycle,
he pronounces, and knocks it back. Later, when you finally leave the gimbal, Moritz is still laughing. You help him out of the spinning gimbal and back into the hub, sending him on his way home to the bay. Then you pause for a moment to watch the stars as they spin and spin around the eye. You smile to yourself and think of Bliss and Ankhita out there somewhere, among those points of light. To the next cycle. Cool. Okay, well, we have 2 upgrade points that we can't use. Let's go ahead and check everything else here at the eye. Nothing new. We'll check the cloud. Kind of your typical nothing here since we helped the navigator out. We'll check the greenway. And we still have that cloud over. I actually really like that. And they're still providing for us too. Yeah. That is it, guys. We have run out of content. So we are pretty much in a holding pattern, and the Sleeper is just going to live his life until we are ready for the next part of this DLC, the Refuge, which is going to be coming out in October. So, yeah, we're going to go ahead and say goodbye to Citizen Sleeper for now. Let the Sleeper take a nice deserved rest for everything that he's been doing. And I hope you all have been enjoying the series. We will come back to it. We're not going to finish this series until that DLC is complete. But we're going to end the cycle here for a little bit. But I hope you guys have been enjoying it. We will end this by feeding the stray, as per normal. And as they said at the end of that last story, to the next cycle. If you guys liked the video, please leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, that'd be a big help. And I'll see you next time. Later days, everyone.